The city is moving to revoke the cab licenses of taxi drivers with bad driving records as a result of a CBS 2 investigation.
Pam Zeckman broke the story on dangerous taxi drivers, and she joins us now with these new developments. Pam.
Antonio and Tracy, the City Department of Consumer Services can revoke the license of a cab driver who gets 2 or more convictions for moving violations in a year. But we found the agency was simply not getting up-to-date information on those convictions. Now the agency is retracing our steps, checking out traffic court records, and taking action. Cab driver Anatoly Todorchuk has gotten 48 tickets in the last 8 years. He says that's how he learned our laws.
I came to America 8 years ago and didn't know whole rules, whole regulations over here. That's why I violated the law. But I don't think I'm a bad driver.
Then why have judges sent him to traffic school 2 to 3 times a year by his own admission? And what about his 4 accidents? In one, he hit a Chicago cop directing traffic at this intersection.
I didn't hit him. I just pushed him, slowly, and he slowly slid on the ground.
Not quite, according to the cop now suing Todorchuk.
This cab driver cut over 2 lanes and hit Officer Stan Rogers with sufficient force to actually throw Officer Stan Rogers onto the cab driver's car's hood.
Now, city regulators say enough is enough, and they filed this petition today to revoke Todorchuk's cab license.
He doesn't belong behind the wheel of a cab, and we're going to do everything legally possible to make sure that he's not.
Another petition was filed to revoke the license of cab driver Elliot Banda, who's had 70 tickets over 15 years. The city knew nothing about several recent tickets until we told them what we found.
We don't want these people on the streets if they don't belong on the streets.
Banda could not be reached for comment. Then there's John O'Hara, the cab driver we told you about with 80 tickets in the last 10 years. Now the city is reviewing our videotape and a critique by the city's top traffic cop as possible evidence that O'Hara continues to drive recklessly.
He's passing on the right and he's not using his turn signal when he changes lanes.
Minutes later, O'Hara did it again, then violated more laws, speeding and crossing 3 lanes of traffic on the outer drive, not once, but twice.
It's just a negligent way to drive, and it could cause an accident.
O'Hara denies it all, saying,
"My customers tell me all the time they love my driving."
Not the customer who sent us this email thanking us for exposing O'Hara. She said, "I've ridden in O'Hara's little cab of horrors." Her co-worker was along for the ride.
And it was the worst cab ride I've ever been in my life. From the time we got into his cab, he was changing lanes without using his signals. He was gunning it. He was cutting people off.
Do you think he's dangerous?
I think he's absolutely dangerous.
As for cab driver Keith Grumbine, we found he racked up 8 convictions last year, several the city didn't know about.
Mr. Grumbine, I'm Pam Zeckman from Channel 2. I'd like to ask you about all of your tickets.
Grumbine ran from me, and he's turned in his cab license. City officials say they do plan to move against other dangerous cab drivers as they continue to sift through all of the records in circuit court and with the Secretary of State. And a spokesman encourages anyone with a complaint against a cab driver to contact the City Department of Consumer Services at 312-744-9400. They say, Tracy and Antonio, that that's the best way for them to take action. They need to hear from passengers and people that see misconduct by cab drivers.
All right. Thanks, ma'am.
Driving schools used to train cabbies with bad driving records are facing charges tonight of deceptive practices.
The action follows an undercover sting by the Department of Consumer Services. It all began when the CBS 2 investigative team disclosed how dangerous cab drivers managed to remain on the road. Pam Zeckman joins us now with a follow-up. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Antonio and Tracy. For this sting, city investigators posed as cab drivers in need of 2-hour driving lessons, and 8 of the 14 schools they hit flunked the city test. The city requires extra driving instruction for cab drivers ticketed for driving unsafely and causing accidents. But the city found some driving schools are apparently a waste of time after their undercover investigators were able to buy these certificates, saying they completed a 2-hour training course when they did not.
This is it's an outrage. They're not training. They're taking money for nothing. and they're jeopardizing public safety.
Like here at the Classica Driving School, owned by Carlos Zaldúa.
The city is charging that on each of these certificates
No,
that you
no.
you took $60 in cash and did not give them the instruction that they were supposed to get. Did you sell these certificates and not give the training?
A deceptive practice the city says amounts to fraud.
Records.
The owner of the Blue Horizon Driving School says she's suspended the employee who allegedly sold investigators these certificates, embellishing them with a grade, an A. At the Pronto Driving School, investigators were told they could buy these certificates pronto for $50 from school owner Victor Varela, or pay $75 to actually take the course.
You signed it. Why did you do that?
Okay, this is for a special request for the customer because sometimes the people ask me for special help.
He claimed he was just trying to help the people, meaning your investigators.
He was helping himself. If you don't make us do anything, we'll give you a sale. We'll give you a discount.
Schoenberger says she's also asked the state to revoke its certification of these 3 schools and 5 others that sold the certificates. A spokesman for the Secretary of State says they'll investigate the charges. Tracy Antonio?
So in the meantime, what happens to these drivers who are apparently never getting the training they need?
Well, some of them get the training and they do improve, but we've reported on one driver who has taken the training over and over and over again, and the city decided enough was enough and they've revoked his license. Other action is expected against other unsafe drivers, and we'll be reporting on those when it happens.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Pam.
As for cab driver Keith Grumbine, we found he racked up 8 convictions last year, several the city didn't know about.
Mr. Grumbine, I'm Pam Zeckman from Channel 2. I'd like to ask you about all of your tickets.
Grumbine ran from me, and he's turned in his cab license. City officials say they do plan to move against other dangerous cab drivers as they continue to sift through all of the records in circuit court